Welcome back to the third session on painting Joseph of Arimathea. Today we'll look at painting the highlights on the clothing. And this is an exciting and exacting process. Before we do that, I think it's about time we heard more about Joseph of Arimathea, and who better to hear from than the Gospel writers. So let's hear what St. Matthew says about St. Joseph of Arimathea. Matthew chapter 27 from verse 57. When it was evening, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who was also a disciple of Jesus. He went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. Then Pilate ordered it to be given to him. So Joseph took the body and wrapped it in a clean linen cloth and laid it in his own new tomb, which he had hewn from the rock. He then rolled a great stone to the door of the tomb and went away. Now I have mixed some titanium white with the Terra Vert Deep, just a tiny little bit, and now I'm going to see if it's the right tone, the right shade, and I'm just going to put a little tip there and you can just see it, and I'm going to wait for it to dry because I can't tell if it's the right shade until it has dried. It seems to be that nearly all pigments will dry darker, so I want a realistic impression. You can see it getting darker as we stare at it. Indeed, it won't look very much lighter than what's underneath it, and that suits me just fine. And then I will apply to quite large sections of the green garment this particular shade of the Terra Vert Deep. Now, so that we're not here all day, I'm going to speed this up to 4 times the normal speed. Now I'm putting this lighter shade, this first highlight, in quite a lot of the garment, but not at the edges, not where the deepest shadows are, and not at the edge of the garment, that is around the shoulder. If this were a photo or a modern painting, that might be different. It just happens that in the heavenly places that icons or the saints are now dwelling, there is no backlighting. Indeed, there isn't reflected lighting. We're certainly concentrating on those areas where light will be falling. Shoulders, garments to the fore, the elbows, the outer parts of folds, And now we have added titanium white to the Mars orange, doing the same thing, covering quite a lot of the garment, the orange garment, in some points going very close to the edge, but not right to the top of the shoulder. By going back to some areas and giving another coat with that same hue, it just lightens it a little bit. Now I've put some more titanium white in the green paint, but not covering as much, going just to the edges of the lighter parts of the garment. Each time I load the brush, I wipe it off at least 17 to 20 wipes on the edge of the palette, so that this paint is going on in very thin layers. That's a very dry method of painting, and it gives me a lot more control. Oh, there's a little bad habit that I have of wiping off with my fingers instead of on a paper towel, to have even less paint in the brush, so that I can blend the lighter highlight through to what's underneath. So there's more paint on the edges of these highlighted bits, and then you can see more of the undercoat, the underpaint, as that plane of the garment is revealed. Now here's an interesting thing. Every so often it's helpful to give what's called a glaze. That is, I've used the raw umber green, no white in it, but given it made it very dilute, and painting over the top with a broad flat brush, and it takes some of the sharpness out of the edges, so it blends the paint better. It's also helpful for making the white less less white, if you like. Titanium white is very white, and wherever it goes, it asserts itself. And so by doing a glaze with the predominant colour, it just knocks it back, stops it being such a bully. Now I've added even more titanium white. I'm sorry that this is a bit bumpy, but the lens is zoomed right in, and the slightest movement that I'm making with the hand on the easel is being amplified somewhat. And I think that's enough for now. We will return in another session to highlight the shroud. And thank you for watching. You might like to leave a comment